This is the keynote address, and it will be given by somebody who likes to describe himself as a problem solver. This person leads engineering and development in Btrust, and he'll be talking to us on Btrust, decentralizing Bitcoin developments. Please make welcome on stage, Kelvin. A round of applause for Kelvin. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Morning, Nairobi. I took Boda here this morning because I wanted to get here fast and worst 30 minutes of my life. Kind of shaky. But yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. So decentralizing Bitcoin developments. Okay. So when we talk about decentralization and Bitcoin, what comes to our mind? Can anyone tell me what comes to our mind when we see decentralization and Bitcoin? Nodes, awesome. Miners, awesome. Developers, not that much. Sovereign, awesome. So the first two was awesome. Nodes, miners, the infrastructure. I think that's like what most people focus on when it comes to decentralization in Bitcoin. But there's more to that, right? There's actually more to decentralization. Yeah. So Bitcoin is the most decentralized network in the world, but the people building it, the developers like me, most especially me, right? Not so much. We don't get the spotlights. We don't get, I think most people are actually focused on, okay, let's have nodes running everywhere. Let's have miners, stuff like that. But the developers building this, reviewing this code, making sure this technology is up and running 24/7, not much can be said about it. And yeah, compared to other networks in the world per se, Bitcoin has been up and running since 2009. I think about, was it 2010 or 2011 when it was just starting out. It came down for a while, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, and this takes me to why decentralized development really matters for Bitcoin. The first is resilience. We need Bitcoin to be resilient. We don't need it to be controlled by one entity or a single government, right? When Satoshi was building Bitcoin, he wanted it to work for everyone. So if it's going to work for everyone, that means we don't want a single entity or government to take control of Bitcoin at any point in time. The second one is diversity of perspectives. The intention is for Bitcoin to have different ideas, because if something is going to be used by the whole world, we need ideas from everywhere to actually make it more decentralized, right? And sustainability, we need it to be sustainable, because I know someone recently left the project on Bitcoin Core, right? I think, I can't remember her name, Gloria. Was it Gloria? Recently left Bitcoin Core, and Gloria is an amazing experience developer. Now imagine if we don't have developers coming in. That means at the end of the day, we're gonna, there's gonna be issues, because we're gonna have like less than the amount of people going out compared to the amount of people staying or coming into the project. So we need it to be sustainable long term. This is currently the map. I think this is quite old, but this is the infrastructure we all talked about, the nodes, the miners. If you take a look at the global nodes, you see a lot of things going on there. regarding Bitcoin. But the global south, not much is happening there, right? This, like I said, is the nodes, the miners, but the same can be said for the people or the developers that are working on this technology. Not a lot of people from the global south are working on it. And it's not because the people from the global south are not good. We have awesome developers here, we have talented people here, but there's a lot of barriers that is making us not contribute to Bitcoin. And the first one is lack of mentorship. Bitcoin Core is really, really hard. I tried that shit in 20 seriously in 2021. Jonas from Chain Code, I went through the program and it was encouraging me to work on this technology. Like, Kelvin, you're a good dev, come do this and all that. I tried it for like 2 months. I was like, nah, I'm not doing this shit anymore. It is really, really hard, especially if you don't have someone to mentor you or onboard you into that project. It's really, really hard to contribute to Bitcoin Core. So there's a lack of mentorship currently for the global south. Financial constraints. Setting up a node or running the Bitcoin Core node on your computer, you need like 4 gig RAM. You need, if not more, to actually run it um, and make use of it. So if you don't have a good laptop, you can't contribute. So there are talented devs right here, but they can't actually contribute to this project or even run a miner. For example, we have some grantees working on some mining projects. They need small mining nodes to actually connect to it and get things done. But it's expensive. Buying these devices are expensive. So that's one of the barriers. Navigating large code base. Bitcoin Core is a very, very large project, and it's actually messy. Honestly speaking, the project is messy because it was started by one or two people. I don't know if Satoshi was just one or two persons, but yeah, it's a lot. Um, Limited access to established maintainers. So you have maintainers that have been working on this project for years. In order for you to bring in a new idea or get things done on Bitcoin Core, you need, let's say, not really their permission, but you need their input into it, right? So it's hard to reach these guys. Most of the time, we just chat with them online, and they are busy. They could take days, they could take weeks to respond to you. And yeah, these are practically some of the barriers contributing to Bitcoin. Oh, and one more last barrier is the isolation from conferences and workshop. This is a very, very big one because the Bitcoin Core dev guys, the guys working on Bitcoin Core, they meet, I think, once or twice a year, but it's a secret kind of meeting where they discuss about the project, what's going on, and the way forward. So imagine not being part of it. Imagine my visa being refused because they are meeting in, let's say, in the EU or in America. A lot of Btrust grantees have missed such opportunities to meet the core devs because of this. Um, and like I said, the issue is not necessarily talent, but it is opportunity. I've been opportunity to travel around Africa, different countries in Africa for the past 1 year right now, and I've seen a lot of talent, but not a lot of people know about this opportunity or are exposed to these opportunities to be able to contribute to Bitcoin Core. Um, and this is the second part of my presentation. The first part was more like why we need decentralization, why it matters, and what it means for Bitcoin to be truly decentralized. The second part is more of how Btrust is actually helping to reduce or help improve the decentralization of Bitcoin. Um, so I want to take a step back because I like talking about the Btrust story. Not a lot of people know about the genesis of Btrust because I see a lot of things out there because of the funding Btrust got a while ago. A lot of people expect Btrust to do everything. Like, oh, you have this amount of money. Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? Why? No, it all started from somewhere, and some group of people came together to make a decision that this should be our focus, right? And we all need to understand that focus so we don't derail from it. It might change in the future, I don't know, but for now, this is the focus. So it started from this tweet by Jack, the former CEO of Twitter. Him and Jay-Z, the rapper, they came together with 500 BTC and was like, okay, let's further help decentralize Bitcoin. How can we do that? By making sure people from Africa, India, and Latin America come contribute to this project. That was his own idea of decentralizing Bitcoin. He didn't bring that funds for us to like do some mining, farm, or run more nodes. No, he brought this fund to bring in more developers to Bitcoin. And that's how this mission came about, which is to decentralize the development of the Bitcoin open source software. And not just Bitcoin Core, across the Bitcoin stack. And at Btrust, we do three things. One is to locate software engineers, which we use by, we do that through BitDevs. BitDevs is a meeting that runs every month. We are in about 15 countries right now in Africa. And we also use the African Free Routing Bootcamps, which is the Lightning Bootcamps that goes to different countries to train developers about the Lightning Network. So we use that to also locate good and talented software engineers. We see them. The next thing to do is to educate them. And we use the Btrust Builders pathways to educate them. And lastly, we fund them using grants to keep them going. Because a lot of people, when you train them, what's the end? What do they do? Do they go look for jobs or do they, contribute to anything? No, we fund them to keep working on Bitcoin open source projects. And these are some of the numbers we currently have. We have about 27 grantees working on various open source projects, about 20 of them from Bitcoin Core to the Lightning stack to the application layer down to the wallet layer. We're in about 10 countries in Africa right now. And I mentioned 15 bit devs, so every month you have a group of developers coming together in, 15 different cities talking about the Bitcoin protocol, what's going on and what's next. Here are some of the numbers for the first half of this year. Almost 1.8 has been, put towards that. About 700 going to the developers. I'm talking about the 27 grantees right now. We're spending a lot on education because a lot of people need to be educated first. You need to be educated first to be able to come and work on the Bitcoin open source ecosystem. And events like Bitcoin Plus Plus that just concluded, we currently give grants to events for that too. So these are some of the projects or the full Bitcoin stack we have our grantees working on, from the core layer to Lightning, privacy and payments, you name it. We have grantees working on these different projects. And the beauty about this is we don't choose this project for them. They choose this project themselves. If you're passionate about mining, you can go work on Stratum V2 or go work on Bradpool. If you're more interested in wallets, you could go work on a mobile wallet. Or if you're more interested in protocol stuff, you can go in there. And I'll be sharing some of the stories from the guys that are currently working on this different infrastructure. Like I mentioned, Brandon is a Kenyan working on Bitcoin Core. Sadiq has a very interesting story in the sense that he came to Btrust in his final year of school. He was doing computer science in school. He had done a few gigs here and there. He has never worked for a company. In his final year, he joined Btrust, learned about the Bitcoin protocol, and started contributing to Bitcoin Core. And by the time he was done with school, he went full time into it. Right now, Sadiq is currently contributing to Bitcoin Core, I think for about 2 years, 3 years right now. And like I said, he has never worked for a proper company and is doing really well. So I use this story to actually encourage people that the talent is here, regardless. The talent is actually here. So regardless of where you are, if you're a developer, you're still in school or you're outside school, you can actually contribute and get funded to keep doing the work. Same thing for Novo and Franklin. Franklin recently joined, and Franklin took a while, right? He tried contributing. There was a lot of back and forth here and there, but he didn't give up. He didn't give up because, like I said, Bitcoin Core is really, really hard to contribute to. He kept going, and I think before the end of the year, he's going to be a long-term contributor. Another story is Rita. Rita, was working for a company, and she encountered Bitcoin and came to the program. And because she was doing a 9 to 5, she was working or learning about Bitcoin over the weekend or mostly at night. You know, um, at the end of the day, she got into the grants program and came in full time. Right now, she's contributing to Lightning Dev Kits, and she's really, really doing well. Um, Another one is Nagasha. Nagasha is from Uganda. Shout out to to Ugandans in the house. Yeah, Nagasha studied engineering in school, started working for a construction company, and she came across Bitcoin, went through the program, and today she's a grantee contributing to Polar. Polar is a very interesting tool because um, non-technical people can actually use Polar to set up a Bitcoin node, a Lightning node, and probably test an idea in like a minute or two. You don't need to download the Bitcoin core. You don't need to be a program. Download the core program and start running, stuff like that. Um, and back to, you know, how Btrust lowers this barrier. I think I mentioned some of them, but I'm going to talk about it again. Um, Btrust actually provides mentorship and structured learning. We have access to the maintainers or the contributors of these projects. So if you're coming on board and you're really interested, we can, connect you to them. Okay, this guy's been working on core for the past 2 years, and we have someone new coming on board. We can connect you to someone that can actually mentor you and keep you going. Also, the structured learning. We've been doing this since 2021, like training developers about Bitcoin. We've made mistakes in the past, and we've come to settle for the ones that are working best for us. We support contributors through grants, and like I mentioned, not just developers, people that are teaching developers, and conferences that are bringing developers together. We support them through grants. Um, we connect developers with existing Bitcoin open source. A lot of people have issues or problems finding the right projects to work on, right? So based on the questions we ask you, based on your experience so far, we can say, okay, this is the right project for you to contribute to. And and we also help contributors become long-term members because I see a lot of people come into Bitcoin looking at something short-term. They just want to contribute, get paid, or get things done and move on. No, we want you to think like a long-term contributor in the sense that 2, 3 years into your contribution, you're looking at becoming a maintainer. And a maintainer is not just someone that merges code. I always tell people that you as a maintainer doesn't mean you have major access. No. As a maintainer, you should be able to direct the roadmap of that project. You should be able to bring in your perspectives, your ideas that, okay, based on the problems we have in Africa, I think it's best we add this feature to Lightning or we add this feature to Bitcoin Core, right? My time is up. And lastly, the pool partnership. A lot of people don't really know about the pool partnership. Pool partnership is one of the most, what's the word again? Impactful partnership we've ever done. So the pool partnership allows us to take our grantees from Africa to offices in the US or in Europe. So they work alongside Bitcoin Core contributors, or depending on the project, they get to work alongside them. There's, right now, most of the people you contribute to with, you have to send them messages on GitHub, get a response like 2-3 days. But with this pool partnership, you can work directly with them, get feedback instantly, and move your project forward. Sadiq and Novo are currently in Amsterdam, working at the 2140 office. Before that, he was in the US and worked for 4 months with the Chain Code Labs team. And that really, really accelerated, his growth in the space. So we'll keep doing things like this, sending them to, offices in EU, in America, so they can work closely and move things faster. And why this benefits everyone? Having developers or contributors on Bitcoin Core decentralizes the network. So now we have more reviewers, more people looking at the code. This leads to faster bug delivery, discovery rather. When you have a lot of people looking at this project, right? A lot of eyes on it. This means, you can discover bug on the project faster, more resilience, and more sustainability on the project. And like I said at the beginning of this slides, Bitcoin is the most decentralized monetary network in the world. And now, with what Btrust is doing, the people building it are starting to look like what the world is. Yeah. And lastly, if you want to join the Builders program, you can take a look at that link. If you want to apply for a grant, or you want to find a BDevs near you so you can contribute, have discussions about what's going on in the Bitcoin open source space, you can take a look at that. Thank you.